Hey everyone, welcome back to another round of Canje Plays, and we're going to be setting off on our adventure today. So before we begin, at the end of the last video, I determined to do some upgrading, the one upgrade that we could do per this chapter, which was to spend gold. I upgraded the Gladius to 7, and for Craig, I upgraded health to 8. So we did do some upgrades here to really kind of strengthen ourselves up a little bit before we headed out. We've got all the food ready, we've got everything set to go. This game is played over a series of sequences called game turns. First, there's the sunrise, where at sunrise a new day begins. So basically, we'll just mark a day off on the day tracker and continue on with what we're doing. Then we go to the movement phase where we determine if we're going to camp, move cautiously, move normally, or move recklessly. If we camp, we don't move and we just advance one card. When it says to advance, what that means is that we discard one card from the timer deck. That card is just moved over, saying that it's done. It counts against our time, and remember, when time runs out, the game is over. If we move cautiously, we may only move one hex, or we can move 3 hexes along a river or a road. So that's just moving cautiously. But we will advance one per 2 hexes that we move. So moving cautiously, we'll move 1, we'll lose 1. That's basically what it means. We can move normally, which means we can move up to 4 hexes away, and the same rules apply. And then we can move recklessly, where we can move 5 or 6 hexes, but we will advance 1 per 3 hexes moved, rounded up when we need to. So for moving normally, if we're going to the shrine first, we're going to do 1, 2, 3. So that's 3, and we're saying every 2 hexes we move rounded up, so that is going to make it 2 time that gets pulled off of there, off of that deck. After we do that, we'll then do our skill tests, which is basically we'll roll the green die to navigate to see if we wander. We'll roll the yellow die to explore to see if we find any gold, and we'll roll the blue die to on a survival check to see if we need to consume any food for that day. So when we camp or we move cautiously, we do not have to roll the green die. If we move recklessly, we have to roll the green die, and we auto-fail those two. So it's just a typical game of Hexplore that's there when it comes to that. After we finish that phase, we'll move to our circumstance or event phase. So if the group is not in an event location, we need to check the type of terrain that we're on, and then there is a grid or a table that describes the type of terrain, and I will at least display that for you to see what type of terrain we're on, so that we can determine what we are going to roll, what will work, what won't work for what we're trying to do. But if we are on an event location, we interact with the event instead of rolling for circumstance to see what's going. And then on the villain phase, we're going to advance 1, and then the day will end. And that is going to be the game turn sequence that we'll be going through in this playthrough. So basically, that's what we're doing. Yeah, and there are the 2 ruins that we need to check out to find out what's going on, where this man's family is, and what's happening. During this turn, we have our circumstances. This is a pre-built set of cards that is added into this deck for this prelude. We just give those a good shuffle. And these will be our circumstances when we get to the circumstance phase. Our win condition that we'll be dealing with for this story is we need to return to the Shrine of Seasons with knowledge of the man's missing family. Our lose condition, if the chapter ends with the heroes unsuccessful, if any of the hero conditions are met. If all heroes are killed, if we can't advance the day anymore, or the timer anymore, and it's run out, or if the group reaches an ending campaign passage through decisions that they've made, poor decisions, we will lose. So we just need to get back to the Shrine of Seasons, knowing about the man's family, and that's what we're going to do. All right, so we are ready to start. So we'll start with the sunrise phase. So that's pretty much good. We have that checked out. We will then go to the movement phase. So 1, 2, 3. We only need 3 to get there. There is no roads or anything to get around that area. And we have the climbing gear so we can run over mountains if we want to. 1, 2, 3. Remember, moving cautiously is just 1 square, which is not that great. So we have to move normally and hope our rolls on these, basically a 1 or a 2 respectively, which is super horrible for our rolls and what we want to do. So we may end up wandering. So let's go ahead and do our movement of 4. So 1, 2, 3. We'll stop there. And then remember, for every, so we'll discard 2. 1, 2 for that movement. So that's the advance of doing it. Then we go to our skill check phase. So we need to roll these 3 dice for each of them, seeing if they're going to consume food. If we get 1 success on the wonder die, we don't wander, which means a 1 or just a 1 or a 2 or lower will be great for us. And we'll see if we find any gold as well. So let's roll these dice and see what we find. For Craig, we're going to roll these lovely dice and see how it works out. Craig rolled a 9, an 8, and a 4. None of those are helpful, so Craig will have to consume 3 food for this. Craig we will potentially wonder because Craig didn't pass and he didn't find any gold. So that's going to be it for Craig. Then we need to see what Kik is going to do, and we're going to roll those dice for Kik. Oh boy, that is fantastic. However, Kik is also going to consume some food, and we didn't do too well there, so we are going to wander for sure. So first, let's take this in order. We'll take these 2 out, and let's talk about wandering. When we wander, we're going to roll the hex die and see which direction we wander. So we roll the hex die, and that is a 6, which means we're going to wander. So our wander north is going to put us up 1 here for when we wander. The next thing that happens after we do that is we'll talk about our explore die, and we had one that had a critical. It says if a hero critically succeeds, they find 1 goal and each hero heals 1 health or 1 energy, their choice. So Kik found 1 gold, taking him from 5 gold to 6 gold, which is fantastic. Another thing that occurs when we do this is because Kik did critically succeed on an explore roll, the rules of the campaign says if any hero critically succeeds their navigate or explore roll during their skill phase, we're going to play a circumstance card. So we'll grab one of these, and then we're going to read a story chapter. You recognize a certain beauty within the land that you are traveling through. The colors of the plants are vibrant olive green and yellow, and the soil seems healthy. Your eyes soon fall upon the source of this verdant landscape, a pair of dryads lounging near a pond. Their skin is green and bark-like, and they have hair the color of the greenest grass. It is evident that they both must be blind, though it doesn't impede their movements in the slightest way. They notice you and stand upright, possibly gauging your intentions. After a moment, they make their way towards your group and introduce themselves as Tenal and Havi, keepers of the Kreen Frost, an area known to your people as the Tranquil Hills. After the brief introduction, the 2 dryads immediately surmise that you are from the nearby shrine. They thank you for your service to the Paragons and ask if you have noticed any abnormalities in the land lately. They claim that something has been scaring off the native wildlife and that the minds of passing animals have seemed more stressed in recent months. They each take a moment to listen to your response. All right, so we have what's called a heroic moment. Heroic moments occur because based on your specific titles that you have, so I have Florimancer, Feykind, Forestborn, and Clever, and Gladiator, Tarian, Adventurer, and Wrathful, based on those things, if any of those match, we get to see what this heroic what this heroic moment is going to be. So if we have a sapper type, a dryad, an elf, pixie, an elemental, a Feykind, or a Sylvan aspect. We have a Feykind aspect, which means that it can work for the Florimancer. Before you have the chance to answer, Tanal laughs aloud and speaks to Havi in their enigmatic sing-song tongue. Having likely read your pattern, their demeanor shifts like the wind. They each step forward and embrace you, an awkward gesture, but a kind-hearted one after all, your kindred. Restore 1. Let's talk about what restore means. When we restore, we draw the top card of the restore deck, which is the deck that is off to the side of updates that basically can help add time if we need to. So we draw the top card of the restore deck, not the timer deck, and place it on top of the timer deck. X is the number of cards that will be drawn. It is possible to run out of cards in this deck, though you may use power-ups from other volumes to increase the size of the deck if you need to. So restore 1 means we're going to take 1 off of here and we're going to add time to our timer deck. So they've just kind of helped us out a little bit. You mention to the dryads that you have indeed come from the shrine, and that you are searching for the family of a man who was gruesomely attacked near a ruin somewhere close by. The Dryads indicate that they trade quite often with a centaur camp who have taken residence in the ruined tower to the north, so they can't imagine the attack would have occurred there. They thank you for trading news, and after a short conversation, the Dryads realize they have taken up too much of your time and that you must immediately return to your quest. As thanks for spending time with them, they offer you some rejuvenating water from their pond to keep you safe on your travels. So that means each, which is really, really great, each hero will gain one potion. And if we have Environmentalist or Visions of Death, we would have more story, but we don't. So we just get a free potion for that critical success, which is fantastic. Rolling hexes is kind of fun. So 2 potions. So they both have 2 potions now, and that will complete the skill phase of this. So it did say that we had to draw. Okay, a little bit of update here. And like I said, this got a little confusing for me. So instead of me putting Klingon subtitles, I'm learning as I go, and I'm taking my time with it. When it says play a circumstance, it doesn't mean pull one from here. It just means roll on the circumstance table. So I don't know why they didn't say roll on the circumstance table, but that's neither here nor there. What does this mean then? It means that we're going to roll on this circumstance table. So based on this circumstance, when it has that symbol, we're going to roll based on where we are. So right now we're not underground and we're not on. It didn't say to roll it on the hex table. So we are going to just roll anywhere else. We're going to roll the d6, and based on those numbers, we will encounter something. It might be good, probably not, because you know how I roll dice. So we're going to roll when it says play a circumstance. We rolled a hex. A hex is probably what we didn't want to see, but it's what we got. So let's see what that means. It means that if we look at the top anywhere else, when we roll a hex, roll on the hex table. What have we here? So what have we here? We're going to roll the hex die again and see what we do or do not find. Re-rolling that hex die again. We roll another hex. What is happening in this game? Okay, what's happening? We find a lucky rabbit's foot. Oh boy, on the hex table. So to whom this have once belonged, we definitely find a lucky rabbit's foot. So cool. Our lucky rabbit's foot says, you found the charm that may have brought luck to its last owner, wherever they may be. You may use the lucky rabbit's foot during the opponent phase of combat to re-roll a boss or encounter action die that you just rolled. You may do this twice before the charm loses its luck. Well, that was fortuitous. We got ourselves a lucky rabbit's foot for what we're going to do. And that was for the explore phase. We're going to move on to the next phase, or the skill phase. We're going to move on to the circumstance phase. So because we're in the circumstance phase, we have to roll the d6 again to determine what's going to happen and how it's going to be. Now we'll roll our d6 and see what happens. We rolled a 4. Let's see what a 4 does. On a 4, it says restore 1, heal 2 health and 2 energy. You discovered an easy path through the normally rough terrain. Your feet are grateful. What is happening? This means I'm going to die horribly. I hope you all know that. So with our restore 1, we're going to take 1 off of here and put it on top of the timer deck. So we're back to 17. Not bad. I'm scared. I'm very, very scared. Finally, we end this day with the villain phase, which what that means is we're going to take 1 card, turn it sideways, and put it here to say that is the end of the day where we are. And that is 1 full turn in this game of Klik's Madness. I'm going to end the video here only because I'm scared. And I need to take a beat to find out what just happened, and we'll see what comes up for it. But we need to check these out. Now remember, the Dryads gave us a clue that maybe our query is here, that we need to figure out what's going on. So we'll have to see. We're not sure yet, but this is definitely where we're going to end this playthrough. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining. I hope you're going to enjoy this playthrough. I'm super pumped to see where the story goes. So far, I'm liking how it works out a lot. And by the time the next video is done, hopefully I'll get some answers on showing you more of the verbiage. Not too much, because you know, this is spoiler heavy. However, not too much, so you can just kind of get a feel for the game, see how it looks, and see how it plays out. So until then, I love you, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it.